Ciao, everyone. Buona domenica. Hope everyone is having a great day and happy Mother's Day. I'm Esther.
I'm Alfred. And hello to all you moms and dads who act like moms today.
That's a good one. Hope everyone is well, no matter what day you're watching. Welcome to You, Me, and Sicily. We're going to be talking about some important mothers and females from Sicily. We're also going to be talking about the Feast of Saint Alfio, Cerino, in Philadelphia, which is May 9th and 10th. And, of course, the current situation. And look what I got at the market. Check out this garlic. Cool, huh? Beautiful. The way they do the garlic here is really spectacular. And really, it's around this time that all the garlic are come out. There's also places that have them braided in beautiful ways. So I just wanted to show you that.
You know, some nitwits from these tour companies actually used to call the Feast of Saint Alfio and Trekastagni the garlic festival.
Because there's an abundant,
there's so much garlic.
Right? One truck after another with these garlic. Al, what are we going to do with all these garlics?
You know, I'm telling you one thing right now. If you get a whole bunch of those things and you just roast them, one of these things, you put the whole thing in there with the skin and all, and then you can just eat them. They're delicious. They don't have a garlic taste at all, and they're off the charts nutrition for you. That's one of the things.
That's for sure. If there's any moms out there watching, hashtag I'm a mom. Thank you for all you do. All right, I want to give you guys a little bit about the current situation here in Sicily and Italy. It was announced that they're shooting to allow Americans into Italy June 15th. We'll see about that. And we've been talking about this green certificate. It's not because it's the color green. It's just called a green for go, right? The green certificate is something that it's either a physical piece of paper or something that you can get on your phone, like a code that you can show that you have been A, vaccinated, B, have developed the antibodies, or have tested negative. So lots of development on that end. I want to know if you guys are planning on maybe coming to Sicily and Italy this year. Leave me a comment. The other thing we wanted to talk to you about is that Sicily, again, remains in orange. While most of Italy is in yellow, so much more freedoms, we're still in orange, at least till the 17th. What do you think of that, Al?
Here's what I think. First of all, I'm impressed that Peter Cipollette has got 200 garlic plants. Man, you must load up on mouthwash afterwards, huh? That's unbelievable. What do you do with 200 garlic plants? Holy, plus they keep on growing, don't they? Anyways, here's what I want to say about that. Yeah. We're not going to do any tours until September, second half of September. We pretty much have made that type of a decision. I'm going to be a St. Thomas on this stuff right now. You know, show me that this system is going to work. Show me that once all the flocks of people come over here, it's not going to rear its ugly head again. There's too much on the line over here for the tourist industry to, you know, blindly and euphorically go out and book, you know, clients to come in here. Okay, better that they have the Europeans come here first, my view, and to test the Europeans out. And that's, you know, instead of, because you won't get your money back from a lot of these places, they'll give you a voucher, or they won't give you money back. So that's what happens. So that's what I think. I think we ought to wait.
So let's, first of all, let's show some things, because before we got on the broadcast, I spoke to my mom and asked her about this. Look at this beautiful box made out of silver, because Alfred and I wanted to show you guys something that makes us think about our mothers. And look inside. Look how beautiful this is. Can you see this? There's a cross inside. And inside is my rosary. And listen to the story that my mom told. And I didn't even realize this, that her grandparents in the 1800s went to Rome and got this, the box and the rosary, gave it to my mom as a child, and she gave it to me when I was 5 years old. So I would say in this house in Sicily, this is probably my most precious item from my mom. You guys see this? All right, Al, what about you?
They call that a family heirloom, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I have lots of stuff from my mom, but the thing that I use all the time is my bone china that my mom gave to me. She gave me a bunch of these, a beautiful design. Let me see if I can show it to you. And
inside is beautiful.
the roses
Can you see
on
the
the
rose?
inside. This over here reminds me of my mom more than anything, because every time we had guests over the house when I was a kid, out came the bone china. And then afterwards, as soon as they left, that stuff got hidden away, and out came the stuff that we got at the market.
The regular mugs.
When you traded it in for the S&H blue stamps and they gave you free mugs and stuff. Pretty much what we used.
All right, so do you want to talk about Trecastagni and the Feast of Saint Alfio, or let's talk about women, famous
wait a minute.
Sicilian women?
Let's just talk a little bit about the significance of this day, which, by the way, Mother's Day isn't celebrated here as it is there. It's a different day, okay? This is primarily a United States feast. Sometimes I think it's like a Hallmark feast. I'm not sure, but stop and think about the contributions of the mothers, okay? And the grandmothers, okay? And the fathers, the single dads who were rearing 2 kids, okay? There are lots of different people today. The day is profoundly significant, not only for, my daughter Jennifer, she's a mom. My daughter-in-law Lindsay, she's a mom, okay? These people go out of their way, have sacrificed everything in their life for their offspring, okay? Because being a mother, in my view, or being a dad who has to act like a mother, in my view, that's a vocation, not a profession. That's a vocation.
And
so
should
today
be
is a
every day.
profoundly important day. It always has been to me. This is the one day. Usually, I go to the cemetery on this day. I mean, besides Easter and this day, Memorial Day, my mom's birthday. Those are the 4 times a year that I try to visit. This is one of the days where I wish I could be in the States. I swear to God, and just to say a prayer for the soul of my mom's soul, and my grandmother, both grandmother's souls, by the way, who are buried in Massachusetts. So that's what I want to say.
Thank you to all the moms, and really it should be celebrated every day. Let's say a quick hello to people. Alicia, good morning.
Alicia.
Jim Ingram, buona domenica tutu. It's a beautiful Mother's Day in Orlando.
It's beautiful
Joseph
here too, Jimmy.
R is here.
Hi, Joe.
I want to say a quick thank you to Manny Palazzo. Thank you for your donation, your recent donation, and also thank you to Ed Toth. Let's see. Good morning.
Hi, Philip.
Peter Scapoletti. He's so funny. I tried Esther and Alfred's stuffed artichoke recipe and pizza recipe. Thanks for sharing it. Hey, did you guys see my pizza
Did you like them?
making?
You didn't say that you tried it. Were they lousy or good, Peter? You have to, say they were good or they weren't so good.
Did you guys see my pizza episode? I'll leave you guys a link. Good morning from sunny New Jersey.
Hi, Joe.
Okay, we've got Sue and Joe are here. Nice garlic, no kidding, right?
Nice garlic, right?
I know. Okay.
Hi, Andy.
All right, we've got Jody DeLuca is
she
here.
got up early from Cali.
Oh, she's a mama.
Yeah, she's a grandmother. What is she? She's a nonna.
Stefania is here. Ciao, Stefania. My sister from New York City.
Ah, Benedetta.
Image consultant.
Hi. You don't say hi, Al. You say just hi, Ass. Okay. Forget me, right? Okay.
Okay. I have one too. What do you have one of? Let's see.
You have one too. Yes, you do. You do.
Hazel, we are coming September 4th. That is great, Hazel. Looking forward to that.
September will be okay for sure. In my view, maybe.
She's going to be taking it back from you when I visit. I'm guessing the garlic. Oh, no, she's talking about this.
Oh, that. You could share it.
I can share it. Ciao, Fred from
Hi, Fred.
Scotland. John is here. All right. Marie, we've got a great group over here now. All right, let's talk about one of the things we wanted to talk to you about is some famous females. And Alfred, you're going to go back, talk a little bit, and I'll talk a little bit more about some modern women.
Okay. First of all, my view has always been that the female gender is a superior gender. It's a much stronger gender than the male gender. The male gender pretty much is like me. We're all shallow as a puddle. I mean, that's the long and the short of it. And the mystical beauty of a female mother or strong female has been in existence, of course, in Sicily since millennia, who the heck knows what. But if you try to Google famous Sicilians, unfortunately, the whole list up until, a couple of centuries back is replete with famous men and not famous women. I'm sure it has to do with the cultural norm of the day where the man was, what did they say about the women? Oh yeah, the women keep the house, the man defend the house, or some baloney like that, okay? There weren't that many famous women that you can learn about unless you really dig, okay? So I selected 2. I could have selected 42, and so could she have. But 2 of them are very interesting. One of them is interesting because of it'll cause you to go back and to research what they call the Sicilian Vespers, which you ought to do. You ought to learn about the Sicilian Vespers. You know what I say, Esther, before I even get going over here? Your job every day is to learn 5 things. If you can learn 5 things every day, I'm not saying review 5 things in your mind, but learn 5 things, that's 35 things a week. That's 120 things a month that you learn, okay? When you go to bed and you've only learned 3 things, it's a wasted day. So you really try to learn 5 things. It's been my hallmark for many, many years. When I was a law prof, I used to teach my students to say that. But if you're a Sicilian American and you only have a surface view of Sicily, you ought to go back and look at and Google the Sicilian Vespers. What had happened way back in the end of the 13th century, 1292, I think it was that the Sicilian people were under the oppressive yoke of the French. Okay, Charles, okay? He was kind of like a religious fanatic, loyal to the Pope, who, by the way, also was a Frenchman, okay? And they wanted to do a crusade. So what they did was they taxed the heck out of anybody that was in his realm, including the Sicilians. But the Sicilians got no benefit from that. In other words, when the Crusades got all the booty, this and that, they got no money. So basically, they were exporting it. What happened to start that Vesper off, and you should really research it, was that in 1292, on the eve of the Vesper, which is the night of Easter night, they were having a big celebration in Palermo, which is where it started. And a few of the French soldiers went to this party, crashed the party, and began feeling up, so to speak, the Sicilian women. Imagine that. So the men went berserk, and they killed the guys, okay? Then they started to ring the bells, all the churches, okay? Kind of like Paul Revere, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The French are here, that type of stuff. So that was it. The Italians, the Sicilians had it, and it led to a bloodbath in Palermo, okay? And before you knew it, all of Sicily was in fire. As a matter of fact, 13,000 Frenchmen died. And not only did French men die, but their Sicilian wives were killed and their kids, okay? And it went right across the island. Excuse me. It ended up in Messina. Messina had been loyal to Charles. But then it began to turn, okay? So Charles, being annoyed that so many people getting killed, sent his fleet, a huge fleet, to invade Messina. And all the townspeople from the Messinans, they were on guard, so to speak. And these 2 sisters, do you know who these 2 sisters were?
I can't remember their name.
Dina and Clarenza. They heard the French coming, and they warned everybody. Now, these 2 sisters, they warned the Sicilians, and they were able to successfully defend, against the French. For those of you who have been to Sicily, they are the 2 girls, the 2 women that are on
the statues,
the huge clock that everybody goes to see. You know that chronological clock that goes like this? In Messina. And the largest square is named after them. So to me, that took a lot of guts to do that.
For sure.
Now, a little bit later,
All
I'll
right,
tell you about another one.
okay, so let me just say a big thank you to Dr. Rosemary. My grandmother has been privately tutored to read and write in Cherami about 1890. After she came to the United States, she held the community together.
Thank you, Dr. Rosemary.
And thank you, Jody LaLuca, for that super chat I'm watching today from Holton, Maine. I'm spending Mother's Day with my mom for the first time since.
That's great.
That makes me
Where's Holton, Maine? Where's that?
Happy. And for you guys who don't know, super chats are just one way to support this community.
Thank you, Jody. We love you.
Thank you, Jody. Let me just say a few other things. Hello, Michael Blaze.
All right, Mike.
Looking forward to hopefully seeing you guys. Maria is here. Great. All right, why don't I do one and then we'll go back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay. So I chose some more recent women that I want to talk to you about. And the first one is Francesca Morillo. She was the wife, also a judge, of Giovanni Falcone. Remember, you guys, we've been talking about them a lot. They are, Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino were the two judges that were murdered by the mafia. And Francesca was an avid supporter of her husband as he fought the mafia. She, as a judge, was also all about justice and specifically taking care of children's rights. So I think she's a great example. But do you know why she didn't have any children? She said that she didn't want to bring in children to be orphaned. So Francesca is one of my women. She fought tirelessly. And of course, she was also murdered along with her husband, May 23, 1992. So that's my woman, because for a woman to speak out like this during the time of mafia, now that took some courage. So
not only that, but after the assassination of Falcone and Borsellino, God rest their souls, by the way, it was the women and the children who got up and said, basta with this, enough. And they led the demonstrations in Palermo that were heard in the halls of the parliament and launched the investigations that got some of these mafia, that led to the Maxi trial. Remember that?
The Maxi trials were before.
Yeah, well, excuse me. You're correct. But that led to the mafia.
It was the first time that the mafia started going down. The women took to the streets. They held signs saying, basta the mafia. This was the first time that everyday people, so not just judges, because there were some priests as well and journalists that I will talk about later, but this was the first time really that the people took to the street. So it was a huge moment, and it was mostly women just done with the mafia here in Sicily. So that was the beginning of the decline here. So
it's still going on to this day, though. But the anti-mafia movement in Sicily is really powered by courageous women, in my opinion.
The web horse. Hey, I like that name. Good morning and good Sunday. Sorry, cause I'm a bit curious. I wonder if you two speak also Italian.
Io parlo italiano, non parlo buono, ma io parlo italiano.
Enough to get.
Sì, sono siciliano, parlo siciliano, non
so
italiano.
He speaks Sicilian, but I have to tell you, Alfred, when you were saying the 5 things that I do, one of the things that I do to learn something new is I try to learn a new Italian word every day.
You do?
Yeah.
What word
I
did
can't
you learn
remember.
today?
Don't ask me. Hey, John Bremer is a new member. So that's another thing that we have going on.
Hi, John.
For $1.99 a month, you
Cup of
become
coffee.
a member. And hey, if there are members over here, did you see the video I posted? Really, you guys, we're going to continue offering new videos, uploading every week. We're going to keep doing the live chats, but these are a little bit more specialized, some behind the scenes, some outtakes, and some, some polls and some some recipes. The last one I had was an artichoke recipe. So that's just another way of supporting our channel. And I want to thank everyone really for all your support. All right, Janet Lombardi is here.
Hi guys,
how do you join good to see you. Is that your summer hat, Alfred? Yep.
Yep, I'm just breaking out my summer hat. How do you join up on this short chat?
So
thing?
when they came on here, they should have had a join button, or next to the subscribe button, there's a join button, and you just.
We picked up our first week. We picked up 25 members into our private
Jody
group.
DeLuca is a new member. Welcome.
We'd like to pick up 25 a week, and as we get our membership in our community, our private community grows, then we're going to be able to do a lot more in terms of programming, but also for our members.
Yeah,
as
I mean,
well.
it's
cup of coffee at $1.99 a month.
It's basically just a way to support this channel. Again, we're going to keep doing all the videos for free. Jody Luca became a new member. Love the video showing the veggie market, the Kakutsa. Hey, if you guys watched that video, I want to know if you understood what the guy was saying about the leaves in the Kakutsa. Okay.
Can you roll them and smoke them?
Roll them and smoke them. Same, I learned a word when do not use it and forget
Jimmy Picks.
Jimmy Picks. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy.
I'm just happy to be back for a live. So since my last time here, I had open heart surgery.
Jimmy,
and
I'll say a prayer for you tonight.
While I've been recovering,
Jimmy
I got your books and I'm enjoying them. Stay healthy. By the way, where do you get those great hats, Al?
I get them. When I go to any town in Sicily, I always keep an eyeball out for the hat shop. Everybody's been commenting the one that I wore last week, the blue plaid one, that Esther got it for me, not Alfred.
I got it. I'll tell you where I got it. So there's a company called Coppola, which is hat, right? Coppola. There's one in Cefalù. There's one in Taormina. And I can't remember if I believe there's one also in Syracuse, but they're all over the place. They've got the coolest hats. They have summer hats, winter hats.
Yeah.
But where did we get this one?
We got this hat, I believe. I got this hat in the United States. I sent away for this hat online for two of them. One like this, and also a white one, a summer hat that when it gets a little bit warmer, I'll be wearing that as well. But I was just talking to Esther. When I go back to the States, I'm going to buy myself my first Stetson hat. I've never had a Stetson hat before. My friend David has one in the United States. He wears it all the time, and I have what they call hat envy. If there is such a
Carl,
thing.
hi from Sacramento, California.
Hi, Carl.
Have to finally see your live. Enjoy watching you both.
Thank you very
so
much.
much. Oh, good, Pat. I understood about the kakutsa. My grandmother had them. So kakutsas are those long, like really long zucchinis.
Am I missing something, or did somebody write us an email saying that you can make kakutsa jam?
Sean said that a few days ago.
Somebody makes a jam out of that. Can you
Good. I'm trying to learn Sicilian, but keep getting mixed up with the Italian. Hey, here's what I have to say about that. Unfortunately, it is a dying language here, so you're better off with your Italian. That's my opinion. All right. You want to do one? The next.
Franca Viola. Franca Viola. You know who that person was? You talk about a woman with a lot of guts, okay? She was the one that was primarily responsible, Esther, for the government outlawing what they call shotgun weddings, okay? Back in 85, or even before that, maybe 75, she was a 17-year-old kid from Messina, and her father arranged the marriage. That's what happened. Most of the marriages were arranged in those days, okay? You got a dowry, and, pretty much you had to marry, wherever they got hooked up to. Matter of fact, my grandmother, Augustina, never met her husband, my grandfather Alfio Zappa, until the day they got married, if you can imagine that. It was a hooked up thing, right? But anyways, getting back to the story, after she became betrothed to this guy, the father and her found out that he was the grandson of a notorious mafioso up in Messina. So the father tried to break off the engagement, which he did, but he was kidnapped, and so was she, and she was raped by her so-called fiancé. She had no option after that but to marry the guy, because that's how it was, or else her honor would have been destroyed. And the only way that your honor does not get destroyed in those days, if you had sex, would be to marry the rapist. So she married a guy who she hated, guess what? And was the rapist of her. 5 years later, she says, screw this. Well, she didn't say screw this. Well, whatever she said, something like screw this. And she got a brilliant lawyer who successfully got a divorce from this guy. Okay, and the story this was the first time an Italian woman got a divorce because of the raping of their.
What year was that?
1980 in the 80s.
Wow.
Yeah, and it wasn't until 85, 7 years later, when the Italian Parliament finally changed the laws. So if you don't think that lady had a lot of guts, are you kidding me? And how many countless women to this day has that woman saved? So there's a lot of strong women in Sicily, a lot. And I'll tell you what,
Thomas Cotton, my Sicilian nonna ruled the family. Everyone favored grandpa, but feared nonna. Hey, it's better to be.
Spoon.
And I'm sure that's the norm in a lot of homes here, right, Alfred? My next one is Felicia Bartolotta Impastato. She was the mother of Peppino, who was a journalist that was killed by the mafia in 1978. He was an ardent writer and outspoken about the mafia and did a lot of stories, and he was murdered, and she went after it, and she was persistent and make sure that the man that killed her son was put into jail. And afterwards, she continued carrying his flag and talking out about the mafia. So that's a strong mom. Lost her son to the mafia and then continued the work. So those are important people. Now, not only Peppino, and we talked about Giovanni Falcone, and Paolo Borsellino, but there were also a lot of priests and a lot of people that died fighting the mafia.
I know 3 other modern heroines that I'm going to mention today because it's Mother's Day. The whole 3 of them, believe it or not, happen to be Esther's real good friends. So if you just give me a second. But they're women that I respect, and they're representative of the modern Sicilian woman, okay? The first one is her pal Vanessa, okay, who has made it a vocation to take care of her children. She's got 2 of the most beautiful kids I've ever seen in my life. I'm crazy about them. And also her sister-in-law, Gabriella, who has another 2 beautiful kids, and juggles a full-time teaching job.
Yeah.
Okay, these are 2 women in there.
And she's also an auditor.
And an auditor. She has 2 jobs, okay? Now, these 2 women, if you juxtapose them all, they're strong. They're intelligent. They're not, what do they call them when you're against the wall? Wallflowers, okay? They speak up. And the third one is my pal and Esther's pal, and I've really got to be good friends with her this year, Stefania.
Yes.
Now, I like Stefania a lot. Well, there's a lot of reasons I like her a lot, because she's a whiz cooking, and she always sends us pictures of the stuff she makes. And her vocation is that of a mother.
Yes.
Okay? The sun rotates around this woman's family, and the love for her family, you could feel it in her writings to me. And they're all different types of women, okay? But they all have the gift of intelligence, okay? None of them are wallflowers.
Dedicated mothers.
Dedicated mothers,
yeah.
Okay? And this is the modern Sicilian woman, as opposed to from years gone by, where some of the women basically kowtowed to the husband. This I'm glad to see, in my view.
Thanks for mentioning them. Carl is a new member. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you. Grazie tante.
Let's see. Franca Viola was the Rose Parks of Sicily. She was the one who
yes,
said,
she was.
I'm not going to marry my rapist. This happened in the early 60s.
1980. No, I checked my notes after I said that. It was in 65. And it wasn't.
Cheers to all the women.
And it was 65.
Right,
wait a minute, let me finish my sentence,
okay?
In 65 is when that happened, and it wasn't. Then it was in 81 where the laws got changed. Yeah. So it was in the 60s where the rape took place, And when was it? That's 16 years later, where she said "basta per ora," and that was it. And you're right. She was the Sicilian Rosa Parks. That's a great thing that you just said.
Hello. The most important question. Looks like a Russian vodka tonic, Al.
Today is a Russian vodka tonic. I'm going to show my bottle of Russian Standard #1. In the United States of America, they sell it for about $25 a bottle. Why, I don't know. Over here, it costs like $12 a bottle, and it's terrific vodka imported from St. Petersburg. I really like it. I'm having a vodka tonic today. Now that the nice weather's coming out, I like to drink clear liquors. By the way, earlier this week it was cold during the week, and I never drink during the week.
Beautiful, this beautiful day today.
But it was chilly. It was rainy. I ended up having a Chardonnay grappa.
Yeah.
Chardonnay is made from the white grape. If you go to the liquor store and you spot a bottle of a Chardonnay grappa, buy it. I'm telling you, you're going to be delighted how the taste is. It's a smooth tasting grappa.
Thank God for all the mothers in the world.
Yes.
Agree.
Yes, Joe, you're right. You're right.
Let me see here. Thank you, guys.
Stefania,
we
on
love
today?
you. She's on here. Besides my mom and grandmother, Esther is a pretty special lady. Oh, we love you, James.
You want to know
Thank
something?
you.
Esther is a mother to a lot of kids. Even though she's not a mother, she's the mother. A lot of children love Esther. I don't want to blow Esther's horn because then people are going to say, well, you're doing that because you want to get lucky tonight. That's not. But listen to me, okay? There are a few people in this world that I've met. Not too many, okay, that have a gold heart. I've said this before, okay? I'm a grizzled warrior from the courts in the United States. I've had more knife fights in my life in the courts that you can, think about. And you develop a certain callousness as an attorney over time. But when I met Esther, she's the anti-that. Okay, she emanates goodness because she got it from her mother. We're talking about Clara, her mother, who's I call her a female mensch. And I've learned myself that, throwing that first missile actually isn't the best alternative in life. And I want to thank you, Esther, honestly, okay?
Okay.
Expect a little something extra. Watch this. Expect a little something extra in your paycheck this week.
Peter Muro, been to Italy 26 times, Sicily not yet, someday. Let me tell you, Peter.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you. Now, first of all, we've got videos from all over Sicily on this channel. Make sure you subscribe. For all people who are new here, make sure you subscribe because I upload videos weekly or we go live. And Sicily is one of the most special places that I've ever visited, and I've lived and been to many places in the world. Now, Sicily is what I called an endless trove of treasures. Endless. I've been here. This is my 7th year here, and I'm still not done with Sicily. And because of the video work that we've been doing, and also because of the tours, I've gotten the opportunity to go to many places that others have not had the opportunity. And after my 7th year, I'm still not done with Sicily. There is something for everyone. Trust me, Peter. Love Rome. Love other parts of Italy, but Sicily is special. And what did Cotte say?
Having visited Italy without seeing Sicily is like not having visited Italy at all.
Because in Sicily lies the answer to everything. So, Peter, I want to know, when are you coming?
Come on, Peter, you got to come here.
Oh, sorry. That was for someone. Anne-Marie wants to know perché. Okay, this is a good question.
What?
Why is the Sicilian dialect disappearing?
It's not.
The Sicilian dialect.
It is not disappearing.
It's just not taught in schools.
There are 8 million people in the world who speak Sicilian dialect.
Right.
It's what happened was they stopped teaching it in the schools thanks to the Rome politicians. Okay, but rest assured that every old timer speaks dialect Sicilian.
Yeah.
And their family members have a working knowledge of it. Now, it's not clear, but they do here in Sicily.
Yeah.
And in other parts of the world, especially South America, where there's millions and millions of Sicilians who immigrated there. In the United States, it's alive. The dialect is alive. Now, there's been a movement, and it's beginning to take root, for schools, high schools, and colleges to reintroduce and to teach Sicilian as part of their course of study.
I was talking to some teachers about that, but it's not likely that they will pass.
No, they're already being taught. I mean, they're being taught at the collegiate level now too.
Same vodka I use for limoncello.
Jimmy, it's good stuff. Good. You make a martini out of it. It's just great.
Pat, really, thanks for stopping by. Got to go hang out with some of my favorite moms. This has been great. Love you, Pat.
Pat, we love you too. You're a good person.
I see more books and interest in learning. I see it online, but it's mostly Americans. You know, I want to know, Stefania, do you teach your children Sicilian dialect? I want to know if you do.
There are plenty of Facebook chat groups that focus on just Sicilian dialect. They give you little phrases and this and that. There's a million of them that if you're on Facebook, you could join it.
Yeah, Thomas, I spoke about this earlier, that allegedly we're going to open to Americans June 15th. I'm not sure how that's going to happen. We still have a 10 o'clock curfew. The restaurants here in Sicily are still closed, but we're hoping in a couple of weeks they'll open. So I have my fingers crossed as well. Jimmy wants to know, how did you guys meet? So Jimmy, believe it or not, we did an entire chat about that. But basically what happened is in 2013, Alfred's brother, Tom Zappola, had a radio show called The Sicilian Corner, and he invited me to be a co-interviewer, co-host. And who was the first person that came in? This guy right here. So I interviewed him on the radio show, and then when the segment was finished, I was like, Sicily, sounds very interesting. Why don't we get together? Or did you ask me? Oh, your daughter, Katie Ray, said something about getting together. So in 2013, I also said to him, why don't you come on my TV show? At that time, I had a different TV show in Massachusetts, and I interviewed him. And we sat there in the set at the TV station, and the lights were off, and the interview was over, and I was like still interested, and I had more questions. So we decided to create some programming in 2014, which now became You, Me, and Sicily, that featured the people, the places, the history, the culture, the foods, and everything about Sicily. And I came here in June of 2014, and I was going to stay for 1 month. I stayed for 5 months. So here I am, and the goal was to do like 6 or 7 episodes. Well, guess what? We're over 80 videos from all over Sicily. And like I said before, I'm not done yet. All right.
I have nothing to say.
We missed Tom, please. We missed Tom. Please have him on again.
Joe,
okay?
don't go saying that, Joe, because he's gonna bug me. He's gonna say my fans demand that I'm on again.
Okay, so Stefania says, well, I do Sicilian. Yes, I do. Sicilian dialect will never die. I often speak them in Sicilian. My kids understand me even if they can't speak. That's great. That's great.
Good. Keep it up, kiddo. Keep it up.
Okay, Nancy. Ciao, Nancy. Hello, lovely couple. I love Story's question. Why, Al, did you settle in Acicattena rather than your family's hometown of Trecastagni? Excellent question.
It's only 12 miles away, number one. Number two, in those days, I was in the import business, and I was forever zipping off to one vendor after another vendor. Now, to get to the highway from Trecastagni, it's a 20-minute drive, and then you have to get on the highway, and then you have to go. This place is close by to the highway, the autostrada. Mm-hmm. So it made a lot of sense to me. And to get there to Trecastagni, it's a zip ride. That's why I came here. First, I went to Acci San Filippo, which is it's a borough in Acicattena. And I had two different places there. Finally, 10 years ago, I came here. And the reason I came here, and I didn't care about the house, by the way. I cared about the view. When I came out here and I saw this view, I said, here's where my office is going to be. And that's it. So
all right, let me take a second to show you guys the
view. The view is terrific, okay? It's a $1 million view.
Leave me a comment. What do you think? How's this for an office, huh? Like literally, Alfred and I sit out here for hours. Alfred does his walking out here. I sometimes do my exercise, and I even edit some of my videos out here while looking out at that view.
And also, we've had our tour groups here.
Yeah, we have our dinners out
We
here.
have one dinner here. We have our cook. What's that gal's name? I always forget her name.
Graziella.
Graziella. She comes in here, and Nancy Moranto wanted. I remember when she was here. What a doll that Nancy Moranto was.
She was here. She had dinner
she
here.
wanted the cassata cake. Remember?
Yeah.
And we got her a cassata cake. That was a good cassata cake.
That was a good one. Guys, not all know that in Italy's story a century ago, Sicilian dialect was becoming national language, and it didn't happen because Dante Alighieri wrote Divina Commedia, and then Tuscany dialect won. Thank you very much for that.
I knew that. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Came down to a jump ball is what happened.
Just as my parents both spoke Sicilian, but my father said we.
Can I just say one thing about the Sicilian thing? Very interestingly enough, out of about 50% of the Sicilian immigrants in the United States forbade their kids from speaking dialect Sicilian. Now, why did they do that? Because about roughly 50% wanted their offspring, their kids, to quickly become part of the American society, and they discouraged the speaking of Sicilian dialect in the house. The other 50% did not. So you know.
Beautiful view. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jim wants to know where's Francesco. So Francesco, who's our neighbor, sometimes we go live also on Wednesdays. And Wednesday we go 6 p.m. Sicily time. And around 6:30, he comes in and we turn the camera on and he says hello. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but on Wednesday he had a little gift for me. I opened it up. It was a rich chocolate cake. One bite and my sugar level went whoop.
What happened to that? I didn't even get to taste it.
Well,
thanks,
yeah,
Esther. Totally won.
Ciao, Atlantis Graphic and Webs Design Ireland.
I
Good
love that.
to
I love
see
this
you.
person.
All right. Wait a sec. I have to tell you guys the other big news. Oh my God.
What?
So the other big news is that this week, debris from the Chinese rocket was supposed to fall on parts of Sicily, including Palermo, Catania, and Messina. So everyone was here on alert. You know, it was supposed to be like 2:24. Oh, 2:24. Was it today or today? Today.
Hey,
plus
it landed in the Indian Ocean.
The Maldives. So. Whew.
Yeah, I did a funny video on
it.
If those of you on my Facebook page, she wouldn't let me put it anyplace else, so I just put it on my Facebook page. I did a funny video about that, but
hey, I said we should have shared it to News from Sicily and Italy.
Yeah, you know, it's
Joya wants to know you own or
no,
rent?
I rent this one now, and the reason is the other places I owned, but when I got out of those places, and believe me, you know what they say over here is the happiest day is when a Sicilian buys a house, and the second happiest day sometimes is when he sells it. Okay, because during those 10 years ago, I had lost a ton of dough in the United States on investments, and I was looking to get out in one piece, which I did. Okay, thank God. And so my son Matt said to me, "Look at Dad, you know, if you buy a place over there and then you kick the bucket in 10 years, that means I'm going to have to do all the probate work over there. It's going to be a real pain in the ass for me."
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So we started to do some legal work for this guy who owns a lot of property in Messina. We got to be good friends with him. And he gave me a huge long lease over here at a very economical price that I could never, ever, 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 ever find. And I've been here now. I just signed another extension onto my lease. So we'll see, we'll see what's going to happen.
It's a great place.
Yeah.
And I like this location. It's close to center of Catania, but not in the city. It's close to some of the tourist attractions like Taormina, Siracusa, Etna is right here.
Yeah.
The ocean is right here. I think it's a perfect location.
Tom
Catone, my grandparents had said we speak English only. They only spoke Italian. They didn't want the kids to understand. You know what my parents did? This is so funny. My parents spoke German when they didn't want us to understand, right? Because they spoke Hungarian. So when they didn't want us to understand, they spoke German. I think a little Russian too. My parents spoke.
Me and my brother Tommy used to speak Pig Latin. Do you know what Pig Latin is?
Of course I do.
We used to speak Pig Latin. My mother was like, "What are you saying? What are you saying? Pig Latin?"
My grandparents argued in Italian or Sicilian and with their friends.
Yeah.
I want to know, for people watching here, did your family speak Sicilian dialect?
Let's talk a little bit before we run out of time. I want to talk about the Feast of Saint Alfio.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right.
The garlic festival.
It used to be called the 9th and the 10th. Today should have been a day where her and I were doing a live report from the Feast of Saint Alfio at Trecastagni.
Yeah.
But for the second year in a row, they canceled it. By the way, they also canceled it in Lawrence, Massachusetts, which was supposed to be over Labor Day weekend. Again, for the second
Well, let's talk a little bit about
irritating.
The brothers.
I'm telling you.
Saint Alfio, Filadelfio, and Cerino. They were 3 brothers from north. They were not Sicilians, but they were martyred in Lentini and Trecastagni, right?
Well, they weren't martyred in Trecastagni. They were martyred
in Lentini, excuse me. Yeah. And the festival, the patron saints of Trekasani are the 3 saints, which is unusual because it's usually, one saint. But the 3 of them got... one of them had their tongue cut off, right? What were the other 2?
Other one was roasted over a pit, and the other one was thrown in boiling oil.
Yeah,
the 3 brothers.
251 right? AD, and you should see this festival. And of course, we did an entire episode. And I've actually already put a link in the description of this video on there for you for the Feast of Saint Alfio, because it is tremendous. Not only is there religious fervor, but also it's really a celebration with the Sicilian carts, street food galore. And the 2 main streets in Trecastagni are all closed off, and vendors from all over Sicily come to sell everything. It's like an open market. You can buy clothes, you can buy toys, you can,
everything.
Everything, really. Jewelry. There's products made from all over Sicily, liquors,
but
wine.
That's really not what the feast is about. The feast is about
a celebration.
The religious fervor. Okay?
Yeah. But,
Saint Alfio happens to be my patron saint, and I pray to Saint Alfio, Filippo, and Cerino 7 nights a week, 365. I always have. He's in my evening prayers all the time. To say that they have answered countless requests from me because they intercede with God. When you pray to a saint, you're not praying for the saint to do something. You're praying for the saint to intercede with God for whatever it is you're asking them. Those 3 boys, and they were young, 19, 20, and 21, they died for their faith, okay? Mm-hmm. And it has influenced at least 2 or 3 generations that I know from the city of Lawrence. My grandfather was one of the 3 guys who founded the festival in the United States. And now, over 90 years later, the one in the U.S. in Lawrence, Mass. is still one of the biggest festivals in all of America. So, and over here, it's ginormous. It's next to Santa Rosalia and Sant'Agata is like big festivals. Now, so it's a shame. It's just a shame that
here it's May 9th and 10th. And the reason that it's Labor Day in Massachusetts, in Lawrence, Massachusetts, Alfred's hometown, Alfred's hometown, is because right when the migrants went over to the area, they had to work.
The immigrants.
They had to work, right?
Yeah.
So they changed it, the festival, to a day that they could have off. Okay.
It's too bad though. I mean, I'm hoping that this summertime, which every town has a festival here. They're festooned. I mean, it's basically a cottage industry having a festival.
I agree, Maria.
Right?
Not right to cancel feasts now. Let the people decide for themselves if they want to. You know what, Maria? I have to tell you, I'm so basta with this whole thing. I'm like, basta con la pasta, basta. I agree with you.
Why? Okay. I have to say one thing about the mask for 1 second. All right, they're the biggest pain in the ass there ever was. However, this has been the worst spring for pollen, for hay fever. Every day I go out to my car and there's a thick coat of yellow pollen all over the car, right? And I'm saying to myself, I'm breathing that crap in. all day long. I'm coughing and I'm wheezing. Right?
And then what about when Etna was exploding?
Then we had on top of that, the ash.
ashes?
I was hardly getting any oxygen, for heaven's sakes. So the mask, I think, when you go out, having a mask.
Atlantis Graphic and Web Design Ireland says, when Dad was annoyed with us, my sister and myself, he'd shout in Hungarian. Then when we learned Hungarian as kids, he switched to Russian and German, just like my parents. That's awesome. Helen says, I think a lot of parents wanted their children to learn English so they wouldn't be confused in school and do well. That's really interesting, Helen.
I think it has a lot to do with discrimination, too, because the Italian people were discriminated against quite a bit, okay? Don't get me started on that, but there is still to this day, look what's happening to Columbus, okay? It's okay for Columbus to be outlawed, but you could have a marijuana parade in New York City. Oh. If someone could explain that to me,
okay, Jim Ingram says, okay? Unbelievable museum inside. You're right. Inside the Church of Saint Alfio, in the basement, and I take you in there in the video of Saint Alfio, Filadelfia and Cerino. There's downstairs, dating back to the 1800s, these pictures that depict when Saint Alfio, Filadelfia, and Cerino stepped in and saved someone. So let's say
they interceded with God on his behalf.
Interceded.
You have to be careful how you say that.
Interceded on their behalf. So, for instance, some of the pictures from World War II. Maybe a soldier was run over by a car or something, and he broke his leg. So the parents prayed to St. Alfio, Filadelfia, Cerino for their intercession. A miracle happened, and let me tell you, this museum is full. Tons of miracles happened because of the three brothers, and they have a painting, a handmade painting, all of them spread out. So there's probably about 3 or 4 rooms in that museum. It's fascinating.
And the older ones are in storage. They have some that go back to the 17th century. I mean, this thing is over 1,300 or 1,400 years old, this particular celebration. Now, the next biggest one, I think we have in the early summer, we have the Feast of San Giovanni, the Baptist, St. John the Baptist.
June 24th.
Which is huge in Sicily.
Well, actually, it's small in Acitrezza.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Sicily-wide. It's pretty big. And then, of course, we have in July, I believe, it's Rosalie, Santa Rosalia. Am I correct in saying that?
Yep.
So, I mean, and then we have...
This is the period of the festival.
What is the one up in Malelli? Who the heck was that?
San Sebastiano.
San Sebastiano.
I think that's in August, if I recall.
There's a lot of great, stuff to do.
My yearly 2 weeks are spent with my cousins in Agropoli. No time to travel. I'm learning quite a bit and have seen all your videos. Keep up the good work.
Are you learning anything, Peter? Are they
informative?
Do you like them? Peter, excuse me.
Okay.
I have one big announcement to make.
Okay. Yes, my parents named me Tommy instead of
Timothy,
because of discriminations during Italians. Yeah,
yes, there was. There was a lot of them. A lot of people changed their names, huh? I mean, a lot of them did. A lot of them anglicized their names. And I'll tell you, now that their grandkids want to become citizens, it's a real pain in the neck when they have to match up their great-grandfather's or grandfather's birth certificate versus the name that they have all the American documents in. They have to go into court and get everything rectified. It's a pain in the neck. But that's what the temperature was at the time. Anthony.
Maniscalco.
He was my pal now, Anthony. He's going to be, we're going to be doing something with him. So anyways, can I make my announcement?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, we experimented with this live chat on Wednesdays at noontime, which is a different time, right? And the reason we had done that originally... Well,
it's 6 p.m. Sicily time, so because we have people watching from all over the world.
Noontime Eastern Standard Time. We had people from the West Coast saying that, it's too early for me, this and that. So we says, okay, let's try a few on Wednesday at noontime our time, at 6 p.m. in Eastern Standard Time, which is 9 a.m. In Cali, right? Well, wouldn't you know it, the numbers for our Sunday show are just almost identical to Wednesdays now. And the good thing about it is that we're picking up a whole new group of people who, for some reason or the other, can't tune in on Sundays. So for the next few weeks, or until we get sick of it or whatever, we're going to do a Wednesday show.
Yeah, and you guys, we appreciate you guys spending the hour or however long you're here. We appreciate it, and really, it's a pleasure for us to come to you. And I said this to you before. You know, it's a chance for us to connect with you guys wherever you are, and we really I love the little community that's forming, and I see people chit-chatting on the chats and getting to know each other. So I'm very, very happy to be able to offer this platform. But the other thing that I want to say that, you know, for us, we know about Sicily. I mean, Alfred knows, he's Mr. Sicily. I'm still learning about Sicily. And these chats really give us an opportunity, me specifically, to go and dig a little deeper. Continuous learning, that's my whole thing. Alfred said it before, 5 new things. I love to learn new things about Sicily. And one of the things that keeps amazing me, that I'm always like, Al, did you know that in Sicily, blah, blah, blah? Or did you know, Alfred, that Sicily is known for blah, blah, blah? So it's continuous. Thomas says, imagine the wars in my family at holiday times, the nonnas not seeing eye to eye, one Sicilian, one
Let me tell you a quick story before we go about that, Tom. You're going to appreciate this. I'm not going to name the couple, but a couple got married in Lawrence, and one family was from Naples, and Neapolitan married a Sicilian, and the two mothers hated each other, right? When I mean hated each other with a passion, right? So the day they got married, you know the envelopes that they give for wedding present? So it looks like that the bride's mother, with a gloat on her face, pulled out her envelope and handed it to the two newlyweds, and it was $5,000 in cash, which in those days would be like $25,000 in cash, right? The other mother took what they call a shit fit, okay, saw that, and at the earliest opportunity, left the banquet hall, went home, came back a half an hour later with her envelope. $6,000. And she gloated. My mom used to tell that story. She used to say, Alfred, everybody in the whole hall was looking at her. She didn't care about the money, gloating at her adversary. Now, you're right. You're exactly right. How did they get along afterwards?
Ross Salamone says, Mom used to speak to us in Catanese when she grew up in Australia. I totally agree with you, Alfred, about discrimination. It was shocking.
One of these days, I'm going to talk at length about that, okay? Yeah. Especially in light of reparations owed to Sicilian people in the United States of America.
Maria,
I've written about that, and I'm going to talk about it at some point.
Maria, speaking of brave women, cheers to you, Esther, for moving to a new country away from your family, deciding to stay, learn the culture and history, and then bringing all to us.
And then staying with me.
That's the only reason I came here first was because Alfred Zappala opened the doors for me to Sicily.
No, well, listen, she does a lot of stuff. Now she's a great Italian cook. I'm telling you, she's been making.
I feel we could prove our lineage. We could get dual citizenship. I'm 9/11 generation in.
9 to 11 generations in. If you go before your if your anchor descendant was before the unification of Italy, if he was born or died before the unification, if he died before the reunification without passing it on, you can't use that line. Did you know that? So if someone was born in died in 1850, you say, oh, good, I found him, right? You can't use him because in 1850, that was not Italy then.
Maria, but back to what you were saying, thank you. Thank you. I love it here. You know that. I was Ciao Antonio Siga. I was born in Agrigento. And where are you watching from now? I'd love to know.
Agrigento is a wonderful, spectacular, historic, great food, beautiful beaches, and you should come over here and revisit your homeland. My opinion. I love going to that place. Great.
All right. Let's see. Maria said, I
hope it wasn't your family.
All right. He is watching from Florida. Where are you guys watching from?
Florida.
Let me know.
I've got to get to Florida. I've got a lot of friends in Florida. I've got to go down there at some point in time.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, Thank you so much for tuning in on this Mother's Day on Buona Domenica. We hope you guys have a great, great week. Hope to see you on Wednesday. Thank you to our new members. Thank you to all the super chats. And thank you guys for supporting You, Me, and Sicily.
There's nobody else for me to thank, but I'm glad you came and hope to see you on Wednesday. Prince Spaghetti Day.
Ciao.